Artists are always asking me, which distribution platform should I go with? And honestly, I hate that question. I'll explain why in a second, but I hacked it. I'm excited to let you know I figured out a solution, because instead of creating countless videos all the time of distributor platform recommendations, I'm going to let you know the 7 principles that I run through in my head when I analyze what is the best distribution platform for you. Right? And I have multiple clients, major labels, indie artists, indie labels, etc., varying levels of success. And whenever I get asked about some new distribution platform or some platform I just never heard of, this is what I go through. All right. So I'm going to run through the first 2 of the 7 pretty fast. All right. So number 1 and 2 are both trust, but they're 2 different types of trust completely. Number 1 is trust as in, hopefully this isn't a scam. I have to analyze every single thing in the music industry first to make sure it's not going to be a scam, because the scams are prevalent in the music industry. I get it. There's a lot of people who fall for it. I'm not going to be one of them. Let me do things like research whether or not the company has investment. Who's connected to the company? Is there anybody I recognize or seems credible or at least visible? Is there a face that's connected to the company? Because if there's nobody willing to put their face out there on LinkedIn, on Google, on Instagram, connected with the company, then it probably is a scammer, because why would you hide your face if your company is legitimate and you're trying to grow it to a serious size? If you're trying to take on these relationships with all of these artists, because music is a heavily relational industry. So that's number 1. Got to make sure this thing isn't a scam. Number 2, are they reliable? Because this is why I hate the question that artists ask me, which distributor should I use? What about this one, that one, and the third one? Because I don't want to think about my distributor. I don't want my clients thinking about the distributor. You go through the process. You go through these 7 principles that I'm going to talk through and go through in this video. So make sure you watch every single one of them. Make your decision, set it, and forget it. That is not the game. There's no true strategy. They get your music up there. You analyze the other benefits, if they benefit you or not, and then spend all your time marketing, branding, making music, making content, collabs, etc. You don't want to have a distributor that was brand new. They seemed like they were cool, so you tried them out, and now when you're having a moment with your song, something crazy's happening, or now you're worrying about bots or something crazy like that. You just need it to be reliable, right? And you need it to be cost effective enough for you to get access to that platform, right? It should be in your budget, but that's about it. And number 3 will make that clearer. All of this is why in the past few years, I've just had one distributor every year that I said, yep, this is a solid one, guys, and this is who I'm recommending for the year. This year, that platform is Lander. If you aren't familiar with who Lander is, Lander started off as a mastering platform, and then they grew and grew and grew. They've been a trustworthy company for a very long time, definitely not a scam. And they've been a reliable company for a very long time. And they mark off every box that I'm going to go through in this video. And if anybody has experience with them, agrees or disagrees, please drop your comments in the chat. What I don't do is make a bunch of videos about people I have no experience with. There's people who will just find all the pricing of 5-6 different platforms. They've never used the platforms. I go over what my clients are using, what I am using, where the relationships that I actually have, and then find something that's reliable. Bam, set it and forget it. If you want to see the other platforms I have those thoughts about, then you can just go to the past videos where I made those recommendations. Number 3, artist size and artist goals. Your team can kind of be worked into that too, right? Artist team or artist size and their goals, right? Why is this important? This is the thing that Lander might not apply for everybody. Once you hit a certain level, right, and you have a lot of things going on, then you might have real people say, hey, I offer some label services and I want to do a certain amount of work for you, or I have a certain level of leverage in your category and we can help you with that. I just got off a phone with a client and he actually is working with a distributor now, and that distributor is going to be able to connect him with some very specific syncs that make sense for his artist, which is also his son. And because of the branding, etc., is going to make a lot of sense, right? There's situations like that where one distributor will be able to win out clearly, but Prior to that, you just want a distributor that's cheap enough, they're reliable, and you can trust them to not be a scam in the first place. We've already got over that. There's enough decent distributors out there that if you end up in one of these scam distributor situations, it's hard to feel bad for you, but I'll speak on it just for a second. What's happening is there's a lot of people who are getting into the distribution space, and because it is actually a relatively easy space to get into, and they're looking at it like a opportunity to exploit artists. Some people aren't even truly offering legit distribution. That's like the full-on scam. They're saying stuff like, I'm going to give you all of these crazy services and I'm going to distribute you for free as a part of the package. Just pay me this high consulting fee this one time, and then they take your money and then you never hear from them again. That's like the straight scam. And then there's another subset of new distro platforms that are basically looking at it as an opportunity to say, hey, I know that I don't really care about if these artists win or not. I'm just going to do a distro platform because I can get all these subscription fees, or I'm going to do a distro platform because I could just take all the royalties and that adds up over time if I get enough artists, and that's it. Right? They offer no value beyond that. And a lot of artists fall into that trap. It's no point in falling for those fake value ads or whatever nice marketing and branding those companies are doing when there's so many legit platforms out there. I've covered United Masters in the past. I've covered Too Lost in the past. I've covered Symphonic in the past, and I'll do some dedicated videos to Lander at some point. I'm just letting you know who I'm choosing for this year because, again, I know people are going to ask in the comments when I drop this video anyway. I'm actually a few months late. I've been wanting to get around to this for a while, but I hadn't had the chance to research and find who somebody that I had not recommended yet, but I can also say is reliable. But this is what brings me to number 4, flexibility. Man, one thing that I love about Lander is that if you have your music on their platform and then all of a sudden you stop for a period of time, you can keep your music up on the platform forever for free, but instead of charging you a monthly subscription, they will just charge 15% of the streams that you're getting. And why I like this so much is this is the reality of a lot of artists I talk with, right? They're in between jobs where they have to take off these periods of focusing on their music because of life. Right? I work with a lot of successful artists, but early on when people are in a space where they aren't full on in music, I still have a lot of conversation and advising and just building with artists to help them along the way. And a reality is people end up having to take a break. So the fact that you can take a break if you need to and still have your music up is huge, and have that security, not even have to think about, well, oh man, now I got to be able to pay just to keep my music up because they're going to charge me a one-time fee. It's like, yo, hey, I'm getting off the platform because I'm not focusing on music right now, or I'm getting off the platform because I can't afford to pay right now and I got to cut out my subscription. So the fact that you are charging me to leave when I'm not staying because I can't afford to stay is, insane to me. So I love the fact that they have that. I'll move on from there though. The next thing is customer service. I don't have any clients that have had a bad customer service with Lander yet at all. I know that if you have enough customers, eventually you have those situations. If somebody has a bad customer service experience with Lander, drop it in comments. If somebody has a great one, also, let's do it both ways. Please drop that in the comments because a lot of people only like to share bad experiences. The next thing is number 6. I love that Lander has an easy import tool. It can be so difficult transitioning your music to another platform. And the fact that they make it so easy, they make it easy to find. It's just right up front. 1, they help out with a headache in general in terms of that transfer process. But 2, it makes it easier for me to consolidate because, as I've already kind of touched on earlier in this conversation, I'm big on not just having a bunch of distro platforms, a bunch of UXs to learn, a bunch of tracking that I have to do in terms of where is my stuff and who do I log in for this platform and who do I log in for that one. I don't like any of that stuff. So I love the fact that they have an easy imports tool if I choose to stay there, right? So if you choose you want to stay there, then you can stay there. Now, before I end this, I do want to say I don't have a link to Lander to mention in this video yet, but I will go get one before I drop this video because all of these platforms usually have some type of affiliate. So I'm going to drop that in the description. I can't tell you what the actual URL is. So if you're listening on the podcast, you're going to have to wait till you're looking again and go to that description as well. Last but not least, we do have to talk about price. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and share this. There's 3 tiers with Lander's distro. The first one is $23.99 a year. The second one is $44.99 a year. And the third one is $99 a year. Now, Studio Essentials is awesome. You can actually even do a free trial to it. So there's no risk. You can get in, you can fill it out a little bit, see if you like it, and decide to downgrade, hop out, whatever. But the affordability is there if we go all the way down to the cheapest package, $23.99 a year. But I'm not going to get into breaking down those smaller details in this video on Lander in particular. I'll create a dedicated video, but since they are my recommendation for this year, this video is still, more than anything, is foundationally about understanding these 7 things. Again, 1, make sure it's not a scam. Cool, you can trust that. 2, are they reliable? Because you should not be thinking about this platform beyond the initial get on, drop your music, keep moving, check your reporting every once in a while, keep moving, focus on your growth, your marketing, your branding, which one thing I didn't mention, a part of that is something that I don't like what DistroKid does. DistroKid has had some situations when it comes to charging artists for streams that allegedly are not theirs. I don't want to go too deep on that on this platform because accusations are accusations, but many of y'all are very aware of it, and I've had these situations with my clients as well. Number 3, what is your size? What is your goal? Where are you in your career? Number 4, what is the flexibility of the platform when you change, when you transfer, when you try to transfer to the platform, when you try to leave the platform, what is that flexibility that they allow? Number 5, do they have good customer service or do they have bad behavior? Number 6, again, the importing tool. I just love when a platform makes it easy to make this transfer process easy for me. And then the price, can I afford this in the first place? Or are they violating on the contract on the back end? Because some distributors have done that in the past, but most of them have since cleaned that up. The big credible brands, that is. So I'm not going to go too deep in that. That's my video on how to pick the best distribution service for you. And that's also my recommendation for the year in terms of Lander. Again, you can check the link below. If you want to support more videos like this and the channel in general, that always helps. So we always try to find an affiliate link when we can. But other than that, check out one of the other videos on this playlist where we'll have other tools, recommendations, because I'm finally deciding to do this for everything. Since people ask me so much about the tools we use, what we recommend, we're just going to put it all out there. And then after that, I'm just pointing everybody back to the playlist. See you soon.